The world of basketball has lost one of its most beloved voices, a man whose narration helped define an era of dominance, passion, and unforgettable moments. Stacey King, the Chicago Bulls broadcaster and former NBA champion, has passed away at the age of 59. His death came as a shock to fans around the world, many of whom had grown up listening to his voice on radio and television, watching him bring energy, insight, and heart to every game he covered. There was no long goodbye, no final interview, and no dramatic farewell tour. Just the quiet, devastating realization that the man who gave basketball its most memorable narration is no longer with us. Stacey King was born on January 29, 1967, in Oklahoma, and from the very beginning he was drawn to the world of sports, to the craft of competition, and to the kind of connection that comes from playing at the highest level. He didn't start out as a broadcaster. He didn't become an overnight sensation. He started as a young player with a passion for the game, a body built for power, and a mind that could read the defense before it even moved. He was not the kind of player who needed to be the loudest or the most aggressive to win. He was the kind of player who could win by being smarter, by being more precise, and by being more calculated than everyone else. That was why he became an NBA champion, and that was why fans fell in love with him. His breakthrough to professional fame came in 1989 when he was selected by the Cleveland Cavaliers in the first round of the NBA draft. He quickly established himself as a talented and consistent player, scoring points, making rebounds, and earning respect from fans and opponents alike. He was known for his explosive running style, his ability to finish at the rim, and his knack for finding the gap in the defense that no one else could see. He was not the kind of player who needed a shout to be heard. He didn't need to make grand gestures to be remembered. He just needed to be present, to be real, and to be honest in the way that only a true athlete can be. That was why he became a champion, winning the NBA title with the Chicago Bulls in 1996, and that was why fans fell in love with him. After retiring from playing, Stacey King transitioned into broadcasting, becoming one of the most trusted and respected voices in Chicago sports. He worked for the Chicago Bulls, covering games on radio and television, and bringing energy, insight, and heart to every game he covered. He was known for his calm demeanor, his precision in language, and his ability to stay neutral even when the pressure was at its highest. He was not the kind of broadcaster who needed a shout to be heard. He didn't need to make grand gestures to be remembered. He just needed to be present, to be real, and to be honest in the way that only a true journalist can be. That was why he became a legend, and that was why fans fell in love with him. What made Stacey King so special was not just his voice, but the way he approached every broadcast with the same kind of respect and dedication. He was not the kind of broadcaster who would take a story just because it was there. He was the kind of broadcaster who would take a story because it challenged him, because it made him think, and because it gave him the opportunity to explore something new. He was the kind of broadcaster who would stay on the field even after the game was finished, who would talk to players, who would ask questions, and who would learn from everyone around him. That kind of humility, that kind of curiosity is rare in the world of sports media, and it is the kind of humility that earns respect, not just from colleagues, but from the people who listen to his work. Over the course of his broadcasting career, Stacey King covered some of the most iconic moments in Chicago Bulls history. He was there when Michael Jordan led the team to 6 championships, when Scottie Pippen became a legend, when Dennis Rodman brought his intensity, and when the team faced its darkest challenges. He was the voice that guided fans through the tension of a close game, through the joy of a victory, and through the heartbreak of a loss. He was the voice that made basketball feel real, that made competition feel important, and that made the idea of sport feel possible. That's the kind of impact he had on his fans, and that's the kind of legacy that can't be taken away by death, no matter how painful it may be. The exact cause of Stacey King's death has not been publicly disclosed, and for now, that detail remains respectfully private, shielded by his family and the people closest to him. What is clear, however, is the impact of his passing. The basketball world has been flooded with tributes from fellow broadcasters, from players, from coaches, and from people who grew up listening to his broadcasts and finding comfort in his words. Some have shared stories of the first time they heard him commentate on a game. Others have talked about the way his voice made them feel when they were going through the hardest times of their lives. And still others have simply written that his narration was the soundtrack to their lives. Those stories are not just about basketball. They're about the way Stacey King made people feel, the way he made them believe in themselves, and the way he made them feel less alone. For fans, Stacey King's legacy will live on in the broadcasts that defined a generation, in the games that still bring people to their feet, and in the quiet moments when they listen to his commentary and feel like they're being watched by someone who truly understood the game. He was not just a broadcaster. He was a companion, a friend, and a source of comfort for millions of people around the world. He made every game feel real, made every moment feel important, and made the idea of sport feel possible. That's the kind of legacy that can't be taken away by death, no matter how painful it may be. His voice will continue to echo through the decades, through the radio, through the broadcasts, and through the hearts of everyone who ever believed in the work he did. Stacey King was married to a woman who supported his career, and together they had a family that he cherished deeply. He was a husband, a father, and a man who found joy in the quiet moments, in the conversations that mattered, and in the connections that lasted. His family has released a statement honoring his life, his work, and the kind of man he was. They spoke of his love for his family, his dedication to his craft, and the way he made them feel like they were the most important people in the world. Those words are not just about grief. They're about love, about memory, and about the kind of bond that can never be broken, even by death. If you've ever been moved by Stacey King's voice, if you've ever listened to his commentary on a crucial game, or if you've ever been touched by the way he brought so many stories to life, take a moment to honor his memory. Please like this video, and if you enjoy stories about the lives, legacies, and losses of the people who shape our sports, consider subscribing to this channel. Together, we can keep remembering the voices that taught us how to see the game, one story at a time.